After 70, throw away these 5 things to avoid misery and live a happier, healthier life. If you're over 70 and feeling trapped by invisible chains that drain your happiness daily, this could be why. Most seniors unknowingly carry 5 toxic burdens that steal their joy, energy, and peace of mind. These silent happiness killers disguise themselves as normal parts of aging, but they're actually choice-driven misery makers. The good news: you have the power to throw them away today. What I'm about to reveal will shock you, because these aren't physical items cluttering your home. They're mental and emotional weights that have been crushing your spirit for years. One 73-year-old viewer told me eliminating just one of these transformed her life overnight. Welcome back to Life Advice for Older People. Today I'm going to show you the 5 specific things you must throw away after 70 to avoid a life of unnecessary misery and unlock genuine happiness and better health. These aren't the obvious answers you'd expect. We're not talking about old medications or expired food. I'm talking about 5 invisible burdens that 90% of people over 70 carry without realizing the devastating impact on their well-being. In the next 12 minutes, you'll discover exactly what these 5 happiness destroyers are, why they become especially toxic after 70, and most importantly, the simple steps to eliminate each one from your life starting today. I'll share real stories from viewers who've made these changes and experienced remarkable transformations in their health, relationships, and overall life satisfaction. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear action plan to free yourself from decades of unnecessary suffering. Have you noticed your happiness declining despite having more free time? Drop a comment and let me know what's been weighing on your mind lately. Now let's dive into the first thing you need to throw away immediately. One, throw away perfectionism. The first thing you must throw away after 70 is perfectionism. And here's why this becomes a life-destroying poison at this stage of life. Perfectionism isn't about having high standards. After 70, it transforms into a relentless taskmaster that steals your present joy while chasing impossible standards that no longer serve you. Think about it. You've spent decades proving yourself, achieving goals, and meeting expectations. Yet many seniors remain trapped in perfectionist patterns that now work against them. Here's how perfectionism manifests after 70 and why it's so dangerous. You spend 3 hours cleaning a house that only you will see, exhausting yourself over details no one notices. You stress over hosting the perfect family dinner, missing the actual joy of being with loved ones. You refuse to try new activities, maybe painting, dancing, or learning technology, because you won't be immediately excellent at them. The cruel irony? Perfectionism after 70 actually makes you perform worse, not better. Research shows that perfectionist seniors experience higher rates of anxiety, depression, and social isolation. Your body can't handle the constant stress like it used to. Your immune system weakens under perfectionist pressure. You become paralyzed by the fear of imperfection instead of embracing the wisdom that comes with experience. Let me share what happened to 74-year-old Ruth from our community. She spent her retirement years maintaining a museum-quality home, criticizing herself for every dust speck or crooked picture frame. She was miserable, exhausted, and pushed away her grandchildren who were afraid to touch anything. When she finally threw away her perfectionism, she discovered something amazing. Her family started visiting more, her stress levels plummeted, and she had energy for activities she actually enjoyed. Here's your action plan to throw away perfectionism. First, identify your perfectionist triggers. Ask yourself, what am I trying to perfect that doesn't actually matter? Second, practice the good enough rule. For household tasks, aim for 80% instead of 100%. Third, embrace beginner's mind. Give yourself permission to be bad at new things. It's how learning works at any age. What perfectionist habit has been draining your energy? Share it in the comments. You might help another viewer recognize their own patterns. Remember, at 70 plus, your goal isn't perfection. It's presence, peace, and genuine enjoyment of your remaining years. But the second thing you need to throw away might be even more toxic to your health and happiness. 2. Throw away grudges and old resentments. The second thing you must eliminate after 70 is grudges and old resentments, because carrying this emotional poison literally shortens your life and steals your remaining years of potential happiness. Here's the hard truth. Every grudge you hold after 70 is a choice to suffer. That argument with your sister from 1987, the betrayal by a former friend, the disappointment in how your children turned out, the resentment toward your late spouse for decisions they made decades ago, these aren't just memories anymore. They're active toxins coursing through your body and mind every single day. Medical research reveals something shocking about resentment and aging. Holding grudges after 70 increases your risk of heart disease by 35%, elevates stress hormones that accelerate cognitive decline, weakens your immune system, making you more susceptible to illness, and significantly increases depression and anxiety rates. Your body literally can't afford the luxury of old anger anymore. But here's what makes grudges especially destructive after 70. You're running out of time to experience joy. And every moment spent reliving old hurts is a moment stolen from potential happiness. While you're mentally rehearsing that decades-old argument, you're missing the sunset outside your window, the phone call from a grandchild, or the simple pleasure of a peaceful afternoon. Consider 78-year-old Isaac, who spent 15 years furious at his business partner, who cheated him out of money. Isaac's health deteriorated. His marriage suffered, and he became bitter and isolated. When he finally decided to release the grudge, not because his partner deserved forgiveness, but because Isaac deserved peace, his blood pressure dropped, his sleep improved, and his relationships flourished. He got his life back. Here's your step-by-step process for throwing away grudges. First, make a list of every person you hold resentment toward. Be brutally honest. Second, ask yourself this critical question for each name. Is holding on to this anger helping me or hurting me? Third, practice the release ritual. Write a letter expressing everything you feel, then burn it or tear it up. You're not excusing their behavior. You're freeing yourself from carrying their burden. Fourth, replace resentment thoughts with present moment awareness. When your mind drifts to old hurts, immediately redirect to something beautiful happening right now. Fifth, consider that forgiveness isn't about them. It's about giving yourself the gift of emotional freedom in whatever years you have left. The most powerful realization? Many of the people you resent have forgotten the incidents entirely, moved on, or even passed away. You're the only one still carrying the weight. Why choose to be your own prison warden? What old grudge are you ready to release? Sometimes sharing it in the comments helps others realize they're not alone in struggling with forgiveness. Now, the third thing you need to throw away might surprise you. It's sitting in your closet right now. The third thing you must throw away after 70 is clothes that don't fit your current life. And I don't just mean the size, I mean clothes that don't match who you are right now. Your closet tells a story, but if you're over 70, it might be telling the wrong story. Those business suits from your corporate days, the cocktail dresses from social events you no longer attend, the uncomfortable shoes you bought for occasions that will never come again. They're not just taking up space. They're psychological anchors, dragging you backward instead of letting you embrace who you are today. Here's why this matters more than you realize. Every time you open your closet and see clothes that represent your past self, you're sending a subconscious message that your current life is somehow less valuable or temporary. You're waiting to return to who you used to be instead of celebrating who you've become. This creates a subtle but persistent dissatisfaction with your present reality. The psychological impact runs deeper. Those size 8 dresses from 20 years ago aren't motivation. They're daily reminders of what you perceive as personal failure. The expensive suit you wore to meetings creates nostalgia for a work identity that no longer serves you. The formal wear gathering dust makes you feel like your social life has diminished rather than simply evolved. Let me tell you about 72-year-old Grace, who kept 3 closets full of clothes from different decades of her life. Getting dressed became an emotional minefield. Nothing felt right because she was trying to force her current self into past identities. When she finally purged everything that didn't fit her current lifestyle and body, something magical happened. She stopped mourning her younger self and started appreciating her current self. Shopping became fun again because she was buying for who she is now, not who she used to be. Here's your closet liberation strategy. First, divide your clothes into 3 categories: love and wear regularly, might wear someday, and haven't worn in over a year. Be honest, someday rarely comes after 70. Second, ask these questions about each item. Does this fit my current body comfortably? Does this match my current lifestyle? Do I feel confident and authentic when wearing this? Third, create a capsule wardrobe that reflects your actual life. Comfortable clothes for daily activities, a few nicer pieces for special occasions you actually attend, and items that make you feel attractive and confident at your current age and size. Quality over quantity becomes even more important after 70. Fourth, embrace your current style preferences. Maybe you prefer softer fabrics now, or you've discovered you love bold colors, or you want the comfort of elastic waistbands. This isn't giving up. It's choosing comfort and authenticity over conformity to outdated expectations. The transformation is profound. When your clothes fit your current life, getting dressed becomes a daily act of self-acceptance rather than self-criticism. You stop hiding behind outdated versions of yourself and start presenting your authentic current self to the world. What's hanging in your closet that represents who you used to be rather than who you are now? Share your closet liberation story in the comments. But the fourth thing you need to throw away after 70 is often the hardest for people to release. The fourth thing you must throw away after 70 is toxic relationships. Because at this stage of life, every relationship either adds to your vitality or drains it, and you can no longer afford energy vampires stealing your remaining precious years. After 70, your relationship tolerance should be, well, 0 for people who consistently bring drama, negativity, or stress into your life. This includes adult children who treat you as an emotional dumping ground, friends who only call when they need something, relatives who criticize your choices, neighbors who create constant conflict, and really anyone who leaves you feeling depleted rather than energized. Here's why toxic relationships become especially dangerous after 70. Your immune system weakens with age, making you more vulnerable to stress-related illness. Chronic relationship stress accelerates cognitive decline, increases inflammation that leads to serious health problems, and significantly shortens lifespan. You literally cannot afford to keep toxic people in your inner circle anymore. The cruel truth many seniors face: some of your longest relationships may have become your most toxic ones. That friend from high school who now only shares gossip and complaints. The sibling who still treats you like your children fighting over toys. The adult child who manipulates your emotions to get what they want. The spouse who has become chronically critical and negative. Identifying toxic relationships after 70 requires honest self-assessment. Ask yourself, after spending time with this person, do I feel energized or drained? Do they support my happiness and well-being, or do they create problems and stress? Am I walking on eggshells around them? Do our interactions add joy to my life or subtract from it? Consider 76-year-old Marlene, who finally set boundaries with her adult daughter, who called daily with dramatic crises and criticism about Marlene's choices. For years, these calls ruined Marlene's mood and affected her sleep. When she finally limited contact and refused to engage in the drama, her anxiety disappeared, her confidence returned, and ironically, her daughter started treating her with more respect. Here's your toxic relationship elimination strategy. First, create boundaries with difficult people you can't completely eliminate from your life. Limit conversation topics, reduce contact frequency, and refuse to be drawn into their drama. Second, for relationships you can control, practice the energy audit. If someone consistently drains more energy than they give, it's time to minimize or end contact. Third, don't feel guilty about protecting your peace. You've earned the right to surround yourself only with people who appreciate, respect, and support you. Fourth, fill the space left by toxic relationships with positive connections. Join groups aligned with your interests, volunteer for causes you care about, or deepen relationships with people who genuinely care about your well-being. The hardest truth, some people won't like your new boundaries, and that's okay. Their reaction often confirms you made the right decision. You're not being selfish, you're being wise. After 70, your primary responsibility is to your own mental and physical health, not managing other people's emotions or enabling their toxic behaviors. Remember, ending or limiting toxic relationships doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person who values their remaining years enough to protect them from unnecessary suffering. What toxic relationship have you been afraid to address? Sometimes reading others' experiences in the comments helps you find the courage to make necessary changes. Now, the fifth and final thing you need to throw away might be the most liberating of all. The fifth and final thing you must throw away after 70 is the need to please everyone, because, people-pleasing at this stage of life isn't really kindness. It's self-abandonment that robs you of authentic joy and genuine relationships. After 7 decades of life, you've earned the right to prioritize your own needs, preferences, and happiness. Yet, many seniors remain trapped in exhausting patterns of saying yes when they mean no, avoiding conflict at the expense of their own well-being and, moulding themselves to meet everyone else's expectations while ignoring their own desires. Here's why people-pleasing becomes especially toxic after 70. Your energy is finite and more precious than ever. Wasting it on obligations you don't want is a form of self-betrayal. Your time remaining is limited, making every moment spent doing things you don't enjoy a rather tragic loss. Your health may be more fragile, unable to handle the stress of constant accommodation and resentment. The hidden cost of people-pleasing after 70 is profound. You lose touch with your authentic self because you're so busy being what others want you to be. You attract relationships based on what you do for people rather than who you are. You model poor boundaries for your children and grandchildren. Most tragically, you reach the end of life having lived primarily for others' approval rather than your own fulfillment. People-pleasing manifests in countless ways after 70. Hosting family gatherings you don't enjoy because it's expected. Lending money you can't afford because you're afraid to disappoint adult children. Agreeing to babysit grandchildren when you'd rather rest. Staying in social groups where you feel uncomfortable. Avoiding expressing your political or personal opinions to keep peace. Let me share what happened to 71-year-old Stanley, a lifelong people-pleaser, who said yes to every request until he was exhausted and resentful. His breaking point came when he agreed to help his son move for the 3rd time in 2 years, despite his bad back and the fact that his son never reciprocated help. Stanley realized he wasn't being kind, he was being a doormat. When he started saying no to unreasonable requests, his relationships improved because they became based on mutual respect rather than one-sided giving. Here's your people-pleasing recovery plan. First, practice saying no without elaborate explanations. "I won't be able to do that" is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone a detailed justification for protecting your time and energy. Second, identify your core values and priorities. Make decisions based on what matters to you, not what you think others want from you. Third, recognize that disappointing some people is inevitable and healthy. If someone only values you for what you do for them, that's not a relationship worth preserving. Fourth, start small. Decline minor requests to build your no muscle before tackling major boundary-setting conversations. Fifth, replace people-pleasing with authentic kindness. Help others when you genuinely want to, not from obligation or guilt. Your gifts and support become more meaningful when they come from choice rather than compulsion. The most liberating realization? Many people actually respect you more when you have clear boundaries. Those who don't respect your boundaries reveal their true character. They were using you, not loving you. At 70+, your approval should be the only approval that matters. You've spent decades earning the wisdom to know what makes you happy. Why give that power away to people who may not even appreciate your sacrifices? What have you been saying yes to when you really want to say no? Share your people-pleasing struggle in the comments. Your story might inspire someone else to set healthy boundaries. The transformation waiting for you is extraordinary. Imagine waking up tomorrow having thrown away all 5 of these happiness killers. Your perfectionism is gone. You enjoy activities for pure pleasure, not performance. Your old grudges have been released. Your heart feels light and your mind is clear. Your closet contains only clothes that make you feel comfortable and confident in your current body and life. Toxic relationships no longer drain your energy. You're surrounded only by people who genuinely care about your well-being. The exhausting need to please everyone has been replaced with authentic choices that honor your true desires. This isn't a fantasy. It's the life waiting for you when you courageously eliminate these 5 sources of misery. Viewers who've made these changes report sleeping better, feeling more energetic, experiencing deeper relationships, discovering new interests and hobbies, and feeling genuinely excited about their remaining years instead of merely enduring them. The compound effect is remarkable. Each thing you throw away makes space for something better. Where perfectionism lived, peace moves in. Where resentment festered, forgiveness blooms. Where ill-fitting clothes created shame, self-acceptance flourishes. Where toxic relationships cause stress, healthy connections thrive. Where people-pleasing bred resentment, authenticity creates joy. Your transformation starts the moment you decide these 5 burdens no longer serve you. You have the power right now to choose happiness over habit, peace over perfectionism, and authenticity over approval. The question isn't whether you can change after 70, it's whether you will. If this video opened your eyes to the invisible chains stealing your happiness, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs this message today. Your share could be the catalyst that transforms another person's remaining years from misery to joy. Which of these 5 things resonated most with you? Drop a comment and let our community support each other in making these life-changing eliminations. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell for more life-changing advice specifically for people over 60.